In this tutorial, we are going to be looking at the payroll module of Kaizen HRMS. So basically, this module is where you can add or manage your employees' salaries for your organizations. Manage their pay slips, their pay cycles, and everything else that has to do with paying your employees for their work. So you can find it on the left pane on the left menu here. When you open this, you can check here on the payroll. This is where you can generate your company's payroll for that cycle, whether it's a month, whether it's a year, and then you choose a month and so on and so forth. We're going to get into that, but for now, let us just go to the very basic things. So let's go to the employee salary first. This is where you set your employee salaries. Okay, so for this one, the admin, let me not put it, but I'm just going to put salaries for these people. They're just going to be random salaries, so that so every time you do that, you just click here to make sure that it's been saved into the system. And this is V2 like that. Just bear with me as I do this. And you have here just gonna do 320,000, and this one gets 123,000. I'm just gonna do both of them at once. All right, so you have set the salaries for your employees. Let's say you want to, there's a change in somebody's salaries, right? So let's say for Abigail Gama, she's getting about 400,000. If you look at the salary history, you look at how much she's been assigned into the system. But if you want to update the salary, maybe she's getting a demotion or a decrement or an increment or a promotion, you add the amount that has been added to her salary, not the total amount that has been that she's going to be earning now. So for example, if you are adding her salary by 45,000, 54,000, you put it in there and indicate whether it's a decrement or an increment. So in this case, it's an increment. The date, you indicate it, and then you save it. So this person is going to be getting 50,000 more than what they were getting previously. And if you go to the salary history, it's going to show that initially this person was being paid this amount, but then on this date she was given an increment of that amount. So basically, that's how this works. On this column, it just allows you to select whether that employee is going to be able to generate their own payroll when they log into the Kaizen. So just do no to all of this, just to make sure that there's no funny business going on. All right, I'm just gonna do all of this, and we're done. Now, there are other organizations that pay people on a weekly basis. Some of them pay people on a monthly basis. Some of them pay after 2 weeks. Some of them after 2 months. So these options on the payroll cycle allows you to indicate the cycle you use to pay your employees. If you do pay your employees on a weekly basis, this is what you indicate. That means it's going to allow you to generate a payroll for this person on a weekly basis. But if it's monthly, which is the common case in Malawi, then you just leave it there. Now, I think this is all set, but the most important part now when you're setting up your salary, your organization's payroll, is going to settings here. You go to settings, then you go to payroll settings, because what we want to do now is to start adding things like taxes, pension, or medical scheme, contributions, and everything else that may be related to the contributions or deductions that are made to salaries. Now, these are called salary components, right? So for example, if I say here pension contribution, right? This is pension contribution, and it's going to be a deduction, because then we have to take it from the employee salary and contributing to the organization. So on the value type, you can choose whether this is going to be a percentage of the salary that is going to be deducted, or whether it's going to be a fixed amount. So if it's a fixed amount, you indicate it as a number. Okay, we're going to get 10,000 kwacha out of this person's salary for pension contribution. But in most cases, these are percentages. So you say salary percentage, at what interval are you going to be getting now? Is it going to be deducted on a monthly basis? So if it's monthly, you indicate it. Okay, we're going to deduct 7% of this person's salary, of everybody's salary, so that it's going to be made towards pension. So if this person is paid on a weekly basis, you indicate it here. But since most of these are paid on a monthly basis, here you just indicate 0, 0, 0, and 0. So you save it, and you can add another one. So now you have pension contribution as a component, and here you can add another one. Let's say something that that does not deduct but that adds. So for example, housing allowance, which is normally not part of the salary. So this is an earning, and this is a fixed amount. It's on a monthly basis, and it's 43,000 for this person. On a weekly basis is 0. On a semi-monthly basis is 0. On a bi-weekly basis it's 0. So if you save it, you have added another component which can be now added or played around with on the salary. So you have the pension contribution, you have the housing allowance, and it indicates here that this is an earning, this is a deduction. So you can do the same thing with taxes. So with taxes, it's a little tricky. I'm going to get into it, but I want you to pay attention, because this is something that might confuse some of the people that are not accountants. So for example, what you want to do with taxes is go to salary groups first. You need to indicate, to group your employees in grades, or you need to grade them depending on their salary. So for example, we can say limit 100,000. Okay, this is somebody who receives 100,000 or less. So let's say 99,000 kwacha or less. Let's just say less than 99,000 kwacha. Okay, so this one you just put it as a group and save it. Then you can also put another group. Okay, sorry, we need to add this one. So for this group, you need to add, for each group you need to add the salary components that are attached to that group. So less than 99,000 kwacha, let's assume they are supposed to pay pension, they are supposed to be given housing allowance, and then you should save it. So when you save it like that, I'm just going to create another one here. Create another group, less than 199, for example. Let's say this group is for all people who receive 100,000 kwacha up to 99,000, but I'm also going to leave the components intact. So save it. I'm just going to create 3 groups just to make it a little more detailed, and then here we add 299. I'm going to add a last group and say over 400k. So these are people who receive more than 400,000, but the same salary components are attached. So this is what you save it, and now you have 4 groups of salaries: 1, 2, 3, 4. From people who receive 1 kwacha to 99,000 kwacha to people who receive over 400,000. Now what you want to do is go to the salary components again and create the levels of taxes, the levels of taxes that are going to be applied to different groups depending on their earnings, because as we know, payee or pay as you earn tax is not uniform. It depends on how much somebody earns. So for example, this is payee level 1. Payee level 1, just as an example. This is a deduction, and it's going to be fixed. Usually these are not percentages. So component value on a monthly basis, it's 0. So this one, I'm saying 0 because we are going to apply it to the first group, to the people who receive 1 kwacha to up to 99,000 kwacha. So those are not supposed to be taxed, so we put 0. It's a deduction, yes, but we're putting 0 so that nothing is deducted. So when you save it, you can create another one. This is level 2. Now this is for the people who are receiving 100,000 to 199,000. All right, so this is a deduction, and it's fixed value, and it's let's say 24,000 kwacha. as tax. All right, or if it's a percentage, you can say salary percentage, we take 13% of that. You're not supposed to put the percentage sign here. Do not put this one here, because once you indicate that it's a percentage, it's already putting that one. So please remove that if you put it. So this is for those people. And then we have created the second one, creating level 3 salary percentage. Again, it's a deduction, and these people are supposed to be deducted an 18% of payee, and then you save it. That's on a monthly basis. Then we put the level 4. We're dealing with level 4, which is, let's say, 25%. Sorry. So when you save this, what you need to do is to go back to the salary groups. And then start applying the different levels of taxes to each one of these individuals. So for example, the people who are supposed to receive 99,000 kwacha or below are not supposed to be charged anything. So we assign them the level of tax which charges 0 kwacha. So we can add another one here, payee level 1. Okay, so if we save it, these people are going to indicate that on the payslip, it's going to indicate that they are supposed to pay tax, but it's 0 kwacha, less than 199. Let's just indicate. So that's going to be level 2. Let's assign this salary component of payee level 2, which was around 13%, if I'm remembering correctly. But level 3, the same thing. For those people receiving less than 299, we put it there, level 3. And then, so as you can see, level 1, level 2, level 3, and here let's just finish up on the final level. So there we're putting level 4. They are supposed to be deducted 25% of their taxes. Now, what you want to do on the salary group before you leave this section, you need to manage the employees that are assigned to each group. So let's say we go here and click manage employees. So now you are adding employees to this group. So let's say Abigail Gama and Abriel Ndao. We save it there. When you save it, you find that the names of the employees are appearing down here of this group now. All right, when you go back to the salary groups, and then we're choosing level 3, level 2, manage employees, it's now automatically going to start showing you that you cannot select this one because they are already assigned to this group where they receive less than 99k. So what you need to do is just select the other one. Let's do that, and let's go back to group number 3, and then let's do Ishmael Malata, and group number 4, it's going to be the last employee. So here all of these are assigned, but then James Manda is going to be on that group alone. So now what you have is this salary groups, and they show you how many employees are in each group. So employee 2, 1, 1, 1. All right, now I think everything is set here. Now if you have other deductions, other components, make sure you indicate them here. If you pay your people for airtime allowance, for example, everybody gets airtime allowance, you can put it here, airtime allowance, and that is can be an earning, and this can be fixed, and say okay, every month we give 15,000 kwacha, or let's just say 10,000 allowance for airtime. So you save it, then you can apply this component to the necessary or relevant salary groups. So if it applies to everybody, if everybody is supposed to get that, then you add them to that particular group. So let's say the ones receiving 400k, they're supposed to receive airtime allowance as well. So you edit it, and then you add airtime allowance as their allowance that they get at the end of the month. Now if there are different amounts of airtime allowances that you give to different people depending on their salary grade. You also need to create different categories of this airtime allowance so that it's not just uniform, so that then when you create these different levels, you can apply to the appropriate group. So here you can, this is basic salary payment method. You can just indicate bank transfer, Airtel, or mobile money transfer, or online payments, which is pretty easy. So let's just say online. Here you can add bank transfer, bank transfer. Here you can put mobile money transfer. Okay, it's not really very important, but for the sake of maybe being thorough, you can put it in there. Now that you've done the toughest part, all you need to do is go back to the payroll and start generating. So now this payroll is going to give you options. They say, okay, you know what, you can choose the year, you can choose the month that you want to deal with. The cycle, sorry, you can choose the cycle, whether it's weekly. Now if you're paying your people weekly, this is where you want to focus. Select the month, you can choose, obviously this is put in November. Now I'm just going to generate, but I'll get to another aspect which is very important. I'm just going to generate so that you can follow. So now you have chosen the month, you have chosen the cycle, you have chosen the year. You have selected mark approved leaves as paid leaves. You have chosen to use attendance. So if these people have not been coming to work, they are not going to be paid on the days. Okay, so we're just going to check it. No, don't use the attendance. Include express claims. Yeah, this one you can include it, leave it checked like that. So when you do generate, it's going to bring you there. Okay, there's a problem here because only Abigail Gama is getting her money generated, but that's not a cause to worry. I'm just going to run over through her payslip. So this is Abigail Gama. She's supposed to receive this month this much, and when you look at when you press view, it shows you her payslip. It says, okay, you know, her basic salary is this, but there's a contribution of pension of this, and her payee level is 1, so she's not being deducted anything, so it's 0. And then after all the deductions, gross earnings are these, gross deductions are these, and then after that her net pay is coming down to this, which is also available here. So now the cool thing about Kaizen is you can download this as an employee or as an administrator. You can download this, and you can save it as a PDF, so that maybe you want to use it for future references. So that is basically how payslips and the payroll work. But I'm going to get back to this other element so that so this is the payslip, which is easy to follow. Employees can use it for loan applications and stuff of that nature. Now, this payroll has only been generated. It has not been marked as paid. You have only generated. So the employee does not know that this has been generated. When you want to pay now finally to the employee, you can just select all of these and change the status. So first of all, you need to select and change the status. Now the status is, you have 4 statuses. You can choose to indicate it as it's in review, as locked, so that no changes can be made, like the payroll has been approved and then finalized but not yet paid. But if you have paid them, if you are paying them, you need to select this paid, and then you need to say, okay, this was paid on this date, or let's say we are paying tomorrow, and then payment method, bank transfer, or whatever it is, add amount to expenses. You can say, okay, we're going to add this amount that we're paying to our people as part of the company's expenses. I do not see the reason why we should say no to that, because there's the added advantage of record keeping. So the day you can choose none, the shift you can choose none, depending on how shifts work in your organization. So when you do save, the moment you press save, it sends email notifications of all these people that are here on the payroll, that their payslip or their payroll has been approved and paid, so that now they only have to check the bank if their money has reflected. So it sends an email, and it also sends their payslip as an attachment. So you don't have to manually give everybody their attachments, their payslip, because it's a hell of a job. It's mind draining, and sometimes it's prone to mistakes as well. So this system handles that in the background. It takes the payslip and email notifications and notifies the people, so that nobody's gonna keep asking masari aloha, you know, that kind of thing. So now this is exactly how the payroll component works. But we need to get back to the issue of the other employees. So let's just go quickly to payroll. Excuse me, let's just go to employee salary. Let's just allow this. So we allow this to generate. I think I might have made a mistake. Let's go here, and then monthly, and we are going back. So this is the allow payroll generate is not actually allowing the user to generate the payroll by themselves, but it's allowing the payroll to generate their salaries when the payroll is being generated. So essentially you're saying, should this person be allowed to not be allowed, but should their details be included in the payroll? So when you go back here, when you go back to the payroll, you can delete this, the one that was created for November. You can delete it here, or you can edit it here, but since there's a lot of people, you may not be able to want to do that, so you can delete it. So I'm just gonna clear my cache, my browser cache, because we designed Kaizen so that it's data efficient, so that it doesn't have to load all these things every time that you're doing it. So I'm just going to clear my cache, and then hard refresh this, so that you can fetch the new details and the new settings that I've created. So now what you do there is wait for it to load just a little bit, because then it's taking everything that was given from the server. So here's monthly. The month hasn't loaded yet. Yeah, I think the month have loaded. It's November. And then don't use the attendance. Let's just cross check this as well. And then when you do generate, you're going to see that all the other employees are there available. I do not know why the other employees are not visible, but as you can see, we had one, but now we have two. So I'm just gonna have to investigate that, but it's not a big deal, as there must be something that I've missed at the in the early stages. But when you do this, like you select all, you can change the status here and select that it's been paid, bank transfer, add yes, and then the shift is none, and then save. So as I said, it's going to send email notifications to these people and with their pay slips as well, and then all they have to do is wait so that the balance can reflect in their bank account. So initially we had Abigail, and then we have Mr. Malata here, and then yes. So this is essentially how the payroll module works in Kaizen, so that you can manage your employees. If any of you have a problem, if you meet this problem, just just leave a comment. We're going to attend to that swiftly. But with all the other organizations, we've never met this problem. I'm sure it's something that has been missed in the setting up of the salaries. But make sure, as a recap, yes, going to settings, and you're going to payroll settings. Payroll settings, make sure you create the salary components, the taxes, the pension, the allowances, whatever it is that is related to your salaries, and then you create the groups. And here you can say payroll settings. There are basic settings which are just allows you, if you create new fields when adding employees, then you can choose to add those fields here. I'm going to get to that in another tutorial on the HR aspect. So that is about the payroll. On finances, I'm just going to quickly go to finance. These are basic settings. So if you go to estimates allow you to create values of things that are going to cost, that are going to be required for a certain project or work. They are more like quotations, for example. So if you want to create a quotation, you just go there. It's self-explanatory. You can choose, this one is auto-generated, but you can choose the client or the donor. You can choose the currency. You can choose the validity period. If you do have products or services, you can add them here, and automatically it's going to calculate. So you can close this and start adding lines, so item lines, so whatever it is. Let's say bricks quantity, we need 4,500, 4,300. Unit price for each brick, it's 32 kwacha. There's no taxes attached to this, and then it's going to give you that. So you can keep adding as many as possible. You can add descriptions, you can add another line. So when you finish, then you create the estimate or the quotation. When you save it, it's going to save it as a PDF in a nice formatted way, and send it to whoever the client has been selected to as here, or the donor. And then invoices is the same thing. You can send invoices to people to whom you have provided services, or people who have bought products from you. Recurring invoice is just an invoice that just keeps coming up. You can add recurring invoices and basically just indicate the recurrency, the rate of recurring. So frequency, daily, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever it is, the billing cycle, and so on and so forth. The payments is the same thing. If you're making a payment, you create it here. Okay, we are paying for, as you can see here, now the expenses that we are making during the salaries. You can see salary for the month of November 2022, and it's going to load all that and the amount that has been paid, and so on and so forth. If the payroll has been approved or paid, the status is indicated as approved. So, but you can create new payments if you're paying for iron sheets, for example. If you're paying for a car that the organization has paid, you indicate the member who is directly responsible for that payment. You select a project if it's associated with any project. You add categories, you add the amount, you add the item, the price, the purchase from the invoice. You can select if they sent you a scanned invoice or an email attachment. You can attach it here and save it, so that the system can track the payments that you're making, and eventually give you the reports of how much money is going out through this. So these are recurring expenses. They are much like the recurring invoices, except they are dealing with expenses. So if you have an expense that you make every week, for example, let's say, or every month, it's a water bill. So you can indicate it, and every time that it's coming up, you indicate the amount that has been made. Or if it's a fixed account, you can do that as well. So basically, that is how the finance section works. It's quite basic. It's not an accounting package, mind you, but it helps you handle the other things that are related to finance for the organization. So if you are managing your payments and logging them into the system properly, and if you're logging your expenses and your payments faithfully, the system gives you a report of how much is going out, how much is coming in, and what the balance is. And that is also how we conclude this tutorial, in which we are looking at the payroll as well as the finance section.